Alright guys, in this video I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is living your life like a professional athlete treats their sport. I think this is going to be one of my best videos as far as value if you take it and apply it to your life. So what I mean by this concept is this. Every guy pretty much likes sports, but there's two different ways that people consume sports. There's the first way, which is kind of like a soap opera, and this is what 99% of guys do when they're watching sports. They've got their favorite team's jersey on, they're living vicariously through the players, and they don't take anything from the game, really, other than the emotional roller coaster of it. They're there for the comeback touchdown or all that kind of stuff, betting on the games. But they don't take anything that they can apply from their own lives to get better. And I think this is a huge mistake. It's a really dumb way to approach this, and it's a sign of somebody who is living in the stands rather than putting themselves in the game of life in a metaphorical sense. They view themselves as somebody who is watching other people live life rather than seeing themselves as the main character in life and going after their own goals. Now, the other way to view sports is to view it in the way that I view it, and I think you should view it, which is understanding that sports is a very simplified representation of life. And the greatest athletes will teach you something about how you can get better at your own life. For example, we've got sportsmanship and leadership, these kinds of qualities that you can take from professional athletes. And if you apply them in your own life, whether in a business sense, a family sense, or whatever, your life's going to get better. If you're at your career in a corporate setting and you learn how to be a better leader and a harder worker, you're going to get ahead. It just makes sense. These are life principles that are presented to us very plainly in sports. And so the way I've always viewed sports is I've enjoyed watching excellence. This is why I don't really like underdog stories either. I almost always pull for the best player and the best team. I've pulled for Floyd Mayweather in boxing, Tom Brady in football, LeBron James in basketball. I would have pulled for Michael Jordan if I was alive for him. I always like watching the best win because I understand how difficult it is to truly be excellent, and I don't want somebody who didn't really put in the work to win. And if you view sports from this lens of seeing it as an opportunity to watch excellence on display and take lessons from it that you can apply in your own life, I think it's a huge advantage that can help you get ahead of 99% of people who just haven't interpreted it that way. So think about how a professional athlete treats their sport and think about how you can apply it to your own life. Well, a professional athlete, especially the top level ones, the LeBron Jameses, the Ronaldos, the Tom Brady when he was playing, these people treat their craft with the utmost seriousness. This is not a game to them. And most people go through their lives in a very unserious fashion. They're showing up late to work, they skip the gym, they don't care about what they're eating, they sleep in on the weekends. Like, everything's very just like mailed in. They're not really trying. They don't take their lives very seriously. So look at what professional athletes do. If they want to get the best results, they treat their craft with the utmost seriousness. And if you applied that same mentality to your daily life, don't you think your results would get a lot better? And with that in mind, I want to share 5 things I think you can learn from professional athletes that you can apply to your life. Because understand, your life is basically the game that you're playing. You've got some sort of goal you have in mind, and if you don't have any goals for yourself, that's step 1. You need to set up some goal, which is another sports reference. Imagine a football game where there was no end zone or no time on the clock or no scoreboard. It wouldn't make any sense. It would be just guys running around throwing a ball. There would be no game. You need to have an objective, a goal, a victory. So you need to set that up in your life first and foremost. Once you've got that taken care of, you can apply these 5 lessons in your life and you'll start making some big progress. And I promise you, if you do these things, you'll get ahead of most people. And they're really no-brainer things. We understand that professional athletes should do the things that I'm getting ready to explain to you, but because most people never actually look at professional athletes and understand that they are a simplified representation of life that you can take lessons from, nobody ever takes this stuff and applies it to their own life. They don't personalize it. So the first big thing that you could take from professional athletes is that they have coaches and trainers. And this is something that I think everybody should be doing in their personal life. I go to boxing classes. I don't just go watch YouTube videos on how to box and hope I can figure it out. I have a coach. I either go to group classes where somebody's teaching me or I do one-on-one classes. And my coach sits there and his job is to basically keep humbling me and showing me all the places I need to keep getting better. But guess what? By doing this, I get better quicker. Now, when it comes to athletes, they have coaches and trainers for basically everything. They usually have sports psychologists therapists who help them with their mentality. They have a nutritionist. They have a trainer. LeBron James has a shooting coach. He's the best basketball player in the world. He still has a coach helping him improve from there. So in your own personal life, let's say you really want to rise up the ranks in your career. Why are you not paying for coaching, training, education, things to help you get ahead? If you're in sales, you should have a sales trainer or a coach, or you should be buying courses. You need to be training yourself to get better at these things. If you don't know how to work out, you should get a trainer who teaches you how to get in shape. I had a therapist earlier this year who helped me with some mental blocks I was struggling with anxiety and negative self-talk. He worked me through these things. I've significantly improved by hiring this coach. And this is the mentality of somebody who's going to be a high performer in life. They have the humility to understand they need coaching and training, and they see it as a worthwhile expense because it's going to help them get to the next level. The second thing is looking for the 1% edge. It seems like the LeBron Jameses, the Tom Bradys, these kinds of people, they were always looking for those little competitive advantages they could get over everybody. This is how they were able to succeed. Kobe Bryant was meticulous about his footwork. He had the best footwork in the game when he played. So in your own life, where can you find 1% edges? These little advantages you can get over other people. It's probably going to be in things like additional skill sets, those intangible skills. In your career, it's not just being, let's say you're in computer coding, it's not just being a good computer programmer, it's also having the intangible skills like knowing how to manage stress and your emotions, being a good leader and a good communicator. Those are the things that if you bundle them with your tangible skill, they're going to have a huge advantage for you over everybody else. A few other examples of this, things like supplementation can be a great 1% advantage. Most people aren't thinking about supplementation. If you're taking some sort of supplement that's going to help with your testosterone levels, that's going to help you with fat loss, muscle growth, sex drive, ambition, confidence, that's a huge advantage you can have over other men who are eating the natural American diet, which is making their testosterone lower. They're not supplementing, they're not exercising. So by doing this one thing and increasing your testosterone, that can have a huge advantage for you over the long term. One for me that I just got on was blue light blocker glasses. This is something I started learning about. I understood the negative effects of blue light, which is basically like the artificial light that you get from most indoor lighting, especially LEDs. Our phone screens are emitting blue light, and it messes with our sleep cycle. It can kind of turn us into dopamine zombies. Like, have you noticed if you stare at your phone for long enough, you're just like in a complete funk? Well, I got these blue light blocker glasses, and they've significantly helped with this. They've improved my sleep, they've helped my mind be calmer in the evening, and they make it so that my phone is a lot less distracting. That's a big advantage I have, whereas a lot of other people who don't understand this, they're struggling to sleep, they're distracted by their phone. I don't have those issues nearly as much now. The third thing you can take from professional athletes is singularity of purpose. Professional athletes, especially at the highest level, have oriented their entire life around their goal. Their family understands that the athlete's top priority is their profession and success at it. LeBron James's wife does not complain if LeBron is out with the team all the time and not spending enough time with her. She understands that his top priority is his profession. So in your life, you might not have a singular profession that is your number one priority, but whatever your goal is, that is what you should orient your life around. If your goal is just to be the absolute best man you possibly can be across the board, well, then you should orient your life around that purpose, meaning that the ways you spend money should reflect that. The things you do on a daily basis should reflect that. Exercising versus going out and drinking, going to bed at a good time, the books you read, the things you consume, everything should be oriented around your long-term goal and your purpose in life. The fourth thing you can learn is studying game tape. Now, you might not have a sport that you're playing, but the thing you can take from this is reflecting on your performances. It just makes sense when we see it from athletes. Of course, they're going to study game tape. And, if you're playing basketball, they go back and watch the tape. Okay, they got us on that pick and roll over and over again. Or you're watching football tape and the defense is studying. They kept getting us with that fly play right there. They were doing the play action and it just left this guy open. We need to change our defensive strategy next time we meet this team. It's the studying of film that helps you improve the next time you play somebody. Well, in your day-to-day life, can you do this with, sales presentations? Can you reflect on how you did? Can you reflect on the communication you had with somebody that you found attractive? How did that situation go? Could you have done it better? Could you do some research to figure out the best practices in these kinds of situations? Are you reflecting on the progress you're making in life? It's the end of 2024 as I'm making this video. We're going into 2025. Not exactly sure when I'm going to release this video, but you've had about a year pretty much where you can look back and say, how did I do? Did you actually make progress? Have you reflected on it, or is it another year where you told yourself big things were going to happen and nothing happened, and then you just go on to the next year like nothing else has happened? Like, for example, with this YouTube channel, some of you have been watching for a while, you might notice that I'm kind of ad-libbing the videos a little bit more, and this is a skill that I'm having to improve at. I used to literally script out my videos from top to bottom, but I felt that it kind of robbed me of the ability to be organic and genuinely connect with you guys, and so I wanted to start ad-libbing the videos and being able to speak on the fly and improve that skill. Where at this point, it's still something that's kind of a rough skill set for me. And you'll notice that as you listen to the video, maybe I'll say the same word like 3 or 4 times in a very tight window and it just sounds kind of clunky. I'm still figuring out how to get better at it. Hopefully you guys are getting enough value out of this video that you'll have patience with me as I improve, but I'm gonna go back and study this video and I'll be like, okay, I said like way too many times, or I said way too many times, or I kept repeating words, or I didn't have that point down as good as I would have liked. This is something that a lot of great speakers have talked about, studying their communication and getting those quirks out of the way and figuring out how to get better at communicating. It goes this way for everything. You should be studying tape in all the important areas of your life metaphorically, which means just reflecting on how you did and finding ways to get better. And the last thing you can take from athletes is repetition. This is something that I really learned in boxing classes. Boxing classes are basically you drilling the basics over and over again. It's the jab, cross hook, then we're doing bob and weave, then it's the double jab. Like, we're going over these fundamentals. We're working on footwork. We're jumping rope every single time. It's fundamentals over and over again. And I started to notice how if you do this, you can actually get better very quickly. Just by practicing basic fundamentals, it really doesn't take that long. And so I took this and started applying it in other areas of my life. I applied it to sales scripts. I just would practice a sales script 20 times a day. I did that for 3 days straight, and suddenly I have a sales script down. With these videos, like I said, I'm improving my ad-lib communication skills. Well, with reps, I'm going to get better at it. And this just makes sense. If there's something out there you want to get better at, you have to do more of it. And people are afraid of being bad at something, and this is a huge mistake. They're afraid to be the skinny, weak, out-of-shape person in the gym, and so they don't show up to the gym, but they understand it's reps. You have to show up to the gym for 3 months, 6 months to start really making progress, and you get better, and then your results get better, and it's this virtuous cycle the more you do something. Repetition is a very obvious thing. I believe it was Kobe Bryant took 1,000 shots per day. No, he didn't take 1,000 shots per day. He had to make 1,000 shots per day in the offseason. So imagine how many shots he was taking. Steph Curry, same kinds of things. The number of three-pointers this guy takes to the point where he can make them in any situation. It's just reps. And when you hear it like this, it's like, oh God, I got to do all this work. It's all these reps. But then you also realize greatness is right within reach. It's just doing the work over and over again and getting better at something. You work out the kinks. The first time you rode a bike, you needed training wheels. Then when you took the training wheels off, maybe you fell down the first time. But eventually you got to where you could ride a bike really well. It just makes sense. We all understand this, but after we get out of our youth where we've got a coach making us do reps, or we've got a teacher making us do reps on some problem in school that we're working on, it's like we forget the importance of doing this. So take these 5 lessons, guys. Start practicing living your life like a professional athlete, and I promise you it will be a huge edge over everybody else. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.